So, have you ever stopped and wondered what it really takes to achieve massive success? I mean, what if I told you there's a framework, and it came from a guy who went from being completely broke, living in his mom's basement at 21, to a self-made millionaire just 3 years later? Yeah, you heard that right. Let's dive into this.
First things first, we got to get personal. Because success isn't some universal thing you can look up in a dictionary. It's different for everyone. For a little kid in kindergarten, it might be getting that gold star on their homework. For a CEO, it might be the corner office. The definition is entirely and, powerfully up to you.
And that brings us right to Daniel Alli's core idea. For him, success is just pure self-expression. It's about you being the boss of your own life. So, what's the big takeaway here? It's simple. Stop trying to live up to everyone else's expectations and start performing to your own.
Now, you should know, this perspective didn't just appear out of nowhere. For a really long time, Alli didn't believe in himself at all. He was, and this is in his own words, the kind of guy that mothers would warn their daughters about. So let's take a look at his journey, because it starts at rock bottom.
Okay, picture this. At 21, Daniel Alli is living in his mom's basement. He graduated second to last in his high school class, and get this, the only guy behind him was literally in jail. He'd been fired from over 40 jobs, he was completely lost, and then, somehow just 3 years later, bam, a self-made millionaire. So how on earth did he do it? Well, he figured out 3 keys that completely turned his life around.
The first key is so simple. Read more books. Alli is convinced that pretty much all the world's problems can be solved by the books that are already out there. You just have to find the right ones, the ones that solve your specific problems.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Who has time to read? But wait, look at this. Just 10 minutes of reading a day. That's it. That adds up to about 1 book a month. That's 12 books a year. In just 1 year, you can learn what it takes the average person 5 years to figure out. Come on, we all have 10 minutes.
All right, let's talk about the second key, because this is a big one. Finding the right people to have around you. You've probably heard the same, right? We are the sum total of the 5 people we spend the most time with. It's true. Our income, our habits, even the thoughts we have, they all become an average of theirs.
So take a second and really think about your 5 closest friends. You have to ask yourself a pretty tough question. Who are my leaders and where are they taking me? If the answer isn't somewhere you want to go, well, you might need to find some new leaders.
And this right here is a perfect example of what can happen. Alli had a friend named John, a plumber, who gave him this exact advice. Now, John meant well, he was a good guy, but he gave the wrong directions. He was projecting his own fears and his own limitations onto Daniel. So you've got to be careful of well-meaning people who just can't see your vision because they're stuck inside their own.
Okay, the final key is all about ambition. You have to set higher goals. See, goals aren't really about what you get at the end. They're about who you become along the way. They're supposed to make you stretch and grow way beyond who you are right now.
But let's be real, not all goal setting is the same. On one hand, you've got New Year's resolutions, where we all try to do way too much, way too fast, and then just burn out by February. And on the other hand, you have bucket lists, which are nice, but there's no urgency, so they just get forgotten. There's got to be a better way, right?
And there is. It's called the 20-idea method. Here's how it works. You pick one big goal, let's say becoming a better public speaker. Then you sit down and force yourself to write down 20 different ways you could make that happen. Watch TED Talks, practice in a mirror, read the dictionary, whatever. This whole process doesn't just give you ideas, it actually builds a real, concrete plan of action.
So we've got these 3 really powerful keys. Read more books, find your people, and set higher goals. But how do you remember all that? How do you make it a part of your everyday life? Well, the secret is simple, and it's an acronym you are not going to forget. You just have to think big.
And here it is, all tied together in a neat little package. B is for the books you read to solve your problems. I is for the individuals you surround yourself with. And G is for the goals you set that force you to stretch and to grow. Books, individuals, and goals. That's the entire framework.
But remember, this isn't just some clever thing to memorize. It's a philosophy for taking action. Like Daniel Alli says, when you think big, you will do big, and you will win big. The thinking has to come first for sure, but the doing and the winning, they will absolutely follow.
And that leaves us with one last question, and this one's for you to take with you. I want you to look at your own life, right now. What is the one goal, the one big ambition that you could apply this BIG framework to, starting today?
What books will you read? Who will you go find? And what goal will you set for yourself? Your journey starts now.